Welcome, people. This is your second episode from the pulpit to jail to cell. That's hell. That's hell. From the pulpit to the jail to the cell. That's hell. The first episode we was talking about how a man wasn't evenly yoked. This time we're going to talk about how the woman that's in the church is not evenly yoked. Now, her opposition was like, he was abusive and she couldn't go nowhere and things like that. Now, that happened a lot through the years. This is not the only one. But what's crazy about it that she was judged amongst her peers. Huh? She wasn't judged by God on this, on what we see on the physical. She was judged by her peers. And she didn't get what she did because regardless of what, if you get up, they try to say they're gonna say it's not premeditated. But if you get up and a person is there and you go get something, that means that when you woke up, you had a train of thought and you thought about doing something, so you went and got. Hey, I thought that was premeditated, but I'm not the judge. So go ahead and push that button, like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get to the actual factual. Yeah, let's get to the actual factual.
The roles were reversed. Number 2, the pastor's wife who walked free. Selmer, Tennessee, March 22nd, 2006, 6 in the morning. Matthew Winkler lay sleeping in his bed. He was a Church of Christ minister, a father of 3 young daughters, a man who spent his life preaching forgiveness and grace. He had no idea his wife was standing in the doorway, holding a shotgun. Mary Winkler raised the 12 gauge, aimed at her husband's back, and pulled the trigger. The blast echoed through the quiet parsonage. Matthew Winkler died slowly, painfully, bleeding out in his own bed, while his wife gathered their daughters and fled. And here's where...
So like I'm saying, if you woke up and went and got something, it wasn't right there. You just went and got it. So during that time, that portion of time it took you to go get whatever you had got, you was thinking about doing what you did. So how is that not? I got a brother right now that's doing 15 years, and they say it was a form of premeditation. So it's crazy.
This case gets even stranger. Mary Winkler would serve only 150 days in jail. How? Why? Let's back up. The perfect minister's family. To the outside world, the Winklers were ideal. Matthew was a respected minister, soft-spoken, devoted, loved by his congregation. Mary was the supportive wife, homeschooled their daughters, played piano during services, smiled in family photos. But behind closed doors, Mary later claimed, there was control, humiliation, abuse.
And the thing is this, it's always two sides to the story. It's always two sides of the story because it's like sometimes, if I'm not mistaken, the brothers that did that to their mother and pops, I didn't really hear too much of a long-term abuse. So I don't know if it's a nature in an individual to do certain things, but the only thing that the juror have on is her story.
She said Matthew was obsessed with their finances, that he berated her for small mistakes, that he made her wear provocative wigs and platform heels during sex, something
he was freaky. He just liked it a little thing. And she knew that.
She found degrading. She said she felt suffocated, worthless, trapped. But here's the question that still haunts this case. Does any of that justify murder?
Let me tell you something. Nowadays, at 20, 30, 40 years ago, it's totally different. The first lady, her rules, her guidelines is very, very hard to keep up with this YouTube, and how fast the world is going, the way they dressing in the churches, the things they're allowing in the churches. So the woman's job in the church, the first lady, her job is the most excruciating, because she have to make decisions that she don't even know she making decisions on. Everything really is in her plate. But at the same time, hey.
After shooting Matthew, Mary didn't call 911. She didn't confess. She didn't stay. She loaded her 3 daughters, ages 9, 7, and 1, into the family van and drove. For a full day, no one knew where they were. The church congregation grew worried when Matthew didn't show up for evening.
There's incidents where the wife stayed there because she was in shock. That's when they started coming up with the passion of crime. This wasn't a passion of crime. She went and got the children and all this stuff. She went and took care of the children, made sure the children, and she took off. She didn't go get authority. She wasn't screaming. She wasn't afraid. So I don't agree with the decision that they made, but I'm not a judge. So who I'm to say? It's just my opinion, my reaction. So
evening services, someone went to check on the family. That's when they found Matthew Winkler's body, cold, stiff, surrounded by dried blood, and Mary and the girls gone. A massive manhunt began. Amber alerts, news coverage. The FBI got involved. Finally, over 350 miles away, police found Mary and her daughters on the beaches of Orange Beach, Alabama. She'd been hiding out, acting like nothing had happened, like she was just a mother on vacation with her kids. When police approached her, she didn't run. She simply said, "I know why you're here." Mary Winkler's trial became a media sensation. Her defense team built their entire strategy around portraying her as a battered woman, a victim who'd been pushed to her breaking point. They brought in experts who testified about psychological abuse, about coercive control, about how someone could be so ground down that violence seemed the only escape. The prosecution fought back. They pointed out that Mary had time to think, that she shot Matthew in the back while he slept, that she fled instead of calling for help.
You see?
This wasn't self-defense.
Right.
This was murder. But the jury, they weren't so sure. In April 2007, the jury found Mary Winkler guilty, but not of first-degree murder, not even second-degree. They convicted her of voluntary manslaughter. The judge sentenced her to 3 years in prison. But then came the twist. The judge suspended all but 210 days of that sentence, and with time served and good behavior, Mary Winkler walked out of jail after 150 days, 5 months, for killing her husband.
Wow.
Matthew Winkler's family was devastated. They called it a miscarriage of justice. They said Mary had gotten away with murder, but others saw her as a victim who'd finally fought back. The case split the nation. Was Mary Winkler a cold-blooded killer or a broken woman who'd endured years of silent suffering? To this day, people can't agree. But here's what we know for certain. Matthew Winkler is dead. His daughters grew up without a father, and Mary Winkler served less time than some people serve for theft. After her release, Mary Winkler faded from public view. She lost custody of her daughters, moved quietly, kept her head down. The question remains, did she get away with murder, or was justice served? But if you think that case was shocking, wait till...
Wow, people. Wow. See, I have a alt with the portion of, death. They always say, God take and God give life. God give and God take life. All these religious people throughout their life, even in the streets, everybody always say, God give and God take life. So how can somebody be guilty? This is what I'm just saying. I'm just asking a question. How can somebody be guilty if an entity that we call higher power is the one that's doing this? So until our next one, yes, we got more from the pulpit to the jail, to the cell, and that's hell. Go ahead and push that button, that like, subscribe, and make sure you comment and go ahead and donate to the channel. And we're gonna be okay. And we're gonna be okay. And we're gonna be okay. Peace, y'all.